You think they didn't have to say it, but I just felt like that's what they were, thinking in their mind. Don't be friends with her. Her mommy is insane.
Hi, Faith.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, tell us your story.
Okay. My name is Faith Esebasi, and this is my story. I'm the first daughter, family of 4. My dad was a psychologist, a civil servant. My mom was a nurse. We grew up in an average home, but my dad and my mom didn't have so much, but we were content. My dad, I always grew up seeing some stuff, sometimes I'll wake up and my parents are missing, like I won't know where they were. And I was 7 when I began to be aware that my mom had issues with her mental health, because up until then we're shielded from it, so would wonder why she wouldn't be around sometimes, and then because our neighbors had to like raise us sometimes and all of that. But at 7 years, when I was exposed to it, my mother had rejected food from my dad. My mom was schizophrenic, so she was suspicious of him poisoning her, and then the only person that she would let come close to her was me. So that was the first time I had that close encounter with her in that state, and I was so scared. I remember them leaving me with her in the hospital. I remember, how aggressive she was at me, and then I remember even in that whole state that she didn't forget my name. She's like, Faith, you're here. Sometimes she would switch, you're a witch, you want to kill me. I'm like, no, mommy, I'm here for you. And sometimes she would get aggressive, she would bite me, she would beat me, and then she would come to me like, Faith, and then it's just that whole stuff. And as I grew up, it became more frequent. When I was 9, my dad died, and so the primary caregiver now turned to me, and she became more prone to relapse. Like in every 3 or 6 months, she would relapse, like probably twice, because of the increased responsibility on her to take care of 4 children. She was now like the parents, the mother and the father, so she broke down more easily, and it took a toll on me because we had to switch roles. So sometimes I'd have to take care of my siblings. I had to be the parents. I was parentified quite early, and I didn't really have the chance to just be a normal growing child, like to just play and be carefree. I had to mature very quickly because of that. And you can't just be a child and we tiptoed a lot around her because she was extra sensitive. So I think, you just could not be free because it would trigger her, and then she could, relapse. So we're very sensitive. Even when you're having issues, don't see, mom should not hear you, because she will now worry, she will over worry, and then next thing, she will not sleep. And it always started with insomnia, inability to sleep, and then after some days of not sleeping, she would now begin to have hallucinations. Hallucinations when you're seeing things that are not there, delusions when you're hearing voices that are not real, and all of that. And so she had all those things, and then with time, I got to understand her triggers, so we tried to prevent. Don't do this. So just those walking on tippy toes around her and not being able to just be children. And then as the year ran by, we just kind of coped by being very close. Like 4 of us just tried to be there for each other and just gaining strength from ourselves. And she became more like a sister and less of a mother, And after my dad died, it was really hard because that experience was, I didn't even get, I woke up one morning and they were gone like usual. And I didn't think of it. I just thought because my mom had just recovered. And then my dad was sick around that time. I remember waking up and like, aware of there, and my neighbors told me that they had gone to the hospital. I thought it was my mom. So a few months after, my dad died 10th of December 1999. And I remember going to church on Sunday, and they called all of us and like, your daddy has gone to heaven. And then I thought my dad had gone to another country. I didn't know that heaven meant dying. And it took a long time for me to come into terms that my dad was the closest person we had to like normal. Like my dad was that stability, and then him gone, everything was just a mess. And for a while we struggled. My mom broke down so much that we had to grow up on our own, like literally raise ourselves.
So how did it affect you?
It made me more uptight. I couldn't, we go to church, everybody's in children's church, everybody's just chattering and talk about their new dress, and talk about everything. I'm thinking of, has she taken her drugs? Like just that seriousness, not being able to just be free and be relaxed and just be a child. So it just made me hypersensitive, hypervigilant. It made me more uptight. I couldn't relax. I was so serious. I couldn't. I was, because 1 minute she's fine, and the next she's relapsing. So is that uncertainty? It just gave me some sort of anxiety. Like I was never sure of what the next minute would be. So it made me very anxious. I grew up very anxious. I just tried. I tried being grown up when I was supposed to be a child. So I didn't really get to enjoy the things. So when people see me now behaving like a child and being childish now, it's because I wasn't allowed to be that as a child. So it just made me that self-conscious kid that didn't really know how to fit in. I really always felt out of place. I didn't know how to fit in. I felt weird. I felt like people could see me like, that child is, their mother is mental. They didn't have to say it, but I just felt like that's what they were, thinking in their mind. Don't be friends with her. Her mommy is insane. She just had that, made me have that low
self-esteem.
So
you were feeling that. It's not like they were telling you.
No, I just felt
you were thinking for them.
Yeah. Just assuming. Probably that's why.
Where's your mom now?
My mom is late.
Sorry.
She died 14th of August 2021. And she had a relapse, around that time. And during the COVID time, 2020, I had relocated to Lagos because I was a teacher back then. When COVID happened, there was a lockdown, schools So I was at home with her, and she had a relapse that year. And I remember, I told her that year, Mommy, after this year, if you relapse again, I'm not going to be there. I feel like that's the last time I saw her, first.
Were you the first?
I am the first. I was the first daughter and the firstborn. So I was literally like the second mother. Yeah, I was the one that enforced the rules, literally helped raise my siblings and all of that. So when she became sick 2021, I wasn't around. And I remember...
Where were you?
I was here in Lagos, and she was back there in Akwa Ibom. And so when they told me that she was sick, I was like, okay, this time around people have to take care of her. Have done the work all these years. Maybe people know people are there. And my sister was the one with her, because at that point, my immediate youngster had gotten married. So it was just my brother, the third one, and the last one that was with her. So I remember sending money back home, okay, do this. I'm not going to be there. I've done enough. So it's your time to take responsibility. And it so happened that, she had to be admitted in Calabar. They took her to Calabar. She needed to get oxygen. She couldn't breathe at some point. She had some complications, and all this happened, and I wasn't there. And I remember just feeling really tired. I'm like, this time around, I'm going to choose myself. Like, it was time for me to start living. I was tired of taking care of her, being the primary. I was just tired of being the caretaker. I wanted somebody to, take care of me. It's not like she didn't try, but most of the time she was always in the hospital. And for the first time, I started being resentful. Like, why is my life about my mom? What happens to my life? Like, I want to live my life. And I remember just like this time around, I am going to choose me. And for the first time, I decided to put me first. My mom didn't make it. So I carried the guilt for a long time. The guilt.
She didn't make it.
She died.
Oh, that was when she died.
Yeah. So I felt so guilty. I felt like I'd failed her at the time that it mattered most. Like, I beat myself up for a year. I was so ashamed. I felt like I was a bad child because, like, as a widow, she sacrificed a lot for us. We took care of ourselves. She took care of us. We took care of her. But I was just tired. And I remember telling my sister that, okay, this is the time for you people to step up. I've taught you people enough. So this is it. But I just felt that if I'd been there, maybe things would have been different.
So you blame yourself?
Yeah.
So how has this whole experience now affected you presently? How is it affecting you presently?
It made me more. So before I used to be, I used to accuse my mom of being worrying a lot, but now I feel like I'm more hyper vigilant. Like if someone comes to meet me and they're going home, like I want to check up how you're doing. It makes me more hyper, more anxious, just more critical of myself. Like I just that self loathing, like that I was a selfish daughter when it mattered most. It made me hate myself. It just made me feel less, in quotes, of myself. I felt like I wasn't a good. In the end, when you've done everything and then you're found wanting in one area when it mattered most, it just made me feel less.
99 good and 1 wrong.
Yeah. I just felt so angry with myself. It took me a while to forgive myself.
So now you want to come out of that feeling of guilt, low self-esteem, shame, and
anxiety. Okay. I'm so used to being strong. Now I just want to be happy. I want to be relaxed. I want to be comfortable in my skin. I want to be able to walk confidently without, that walking in tiptoe around her, like being very conscious of her mood, slight changes in her mood.
You just want to live.
Yeah, I just want to be able to be aware of what I'm feeling.
Yourself.
And just be happy. First time growth together.
on The Victory Wilson Show.